folks. Why Would You Ask That is a podcast that answers some of the weirdest questions. A lot of those are inappropriate for some listeners. If you're squeamish, easily disturbed, or just having a bad day, this may not be for you. But if you've got to know the answers like we do, stay tuned.
Why Would You Ask That? Presented by me, M, they, them, and
Karen, she, her, and
Remy, he, they.
And today we are talking about something very serious, very near and dear to my fucking heart, world domination.
world domination.
World fucking domination. I almost typed fuck into Minecraft. That wouldn't bring anything up.
No.
I hope not.
No. Yeah.
So guys, what are your fucking world domination plans?
Well, I don't have any plans. The idea behind world domination is you get a lair, right? You get your lair, you get everybody who is supportive of your cause, develop your evil laugh, then you craft your etc., innator, and then world domination.
It sounds like it happens so naturally.
And watch out for Perry the Platypus.
I mean, this is the plot of every movie from when I was a kid. Almost every movie.
Sounds about right. So that's your whole plan? That's it?
Well, that's the cartoonish plan. But if we were to really consider world domination, it would have to be a grassroots revolution, right? So,
yeah,
form a sort of community, I guess, and then spread your message far and wide, and
hope for the best.
Hope for the best. I mean, there's the long con, which is, pretty much how politics works. And then there is the, actual short con, the revolution, the militia revolution, I guess, is what I would describe it as. Like Lenin.
A real revolution is what I said.
Yeah, like an actual revolution to take over the country. They killed the royal family and appointed their guy as the head of the country, and there you go. I don't actually know all that much about that revolution, but
we should probably study more about that revolution.
Yeah.
We should study every revolution.
Yeah. What worked, what didn't.
That's so many, though.
There are so many.
Do you guys have favorite revolutions in the media?
In the media?
Just in general? Cartoons and whatever?
Oh, I really liked the Haitian Revolution, where they, kicked out the colonizers, or the slave masters.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a very good one.
How did they do it?
How did they do it?
I know it's a real one that happened. I just don't know how it happened.
Yeah, I think it was literally just like they formed it was just a slave revolt. They just were like, we're done with this. And then they rose up and picked up weapons and just started hitting people until they left or died.
That sounds very effective.
Yeah. I mean, people did leave. So, yeah. And so, in retribution, the white people have, cut off Haiti from the economic, system. They've cut them out of the economy. So then that rather than, having fair trade with them, they're like, no, you're a bunch of revolutionists and we don't like you. They were just like, no, fuck you. And that's why Haiti is still not doing so great economically. Stupid Europeans and Americans.
Stupid Europeans is the motto of every country, and why every country is doing bad, probably.
I would say so.
Yeah. All over the world.
So what would you do if you took over the world?
I'll get there. Hold on. Okay, so other than Phineas and Ferb, what are like cartoons and movies and stuff do you guys like where the plot is take over the world? Because Karen, you said all of my childhood. Can you think of other things that you've watched and enjoyed where people are trying to take over the world?
It's like everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Kim Possible, Megamind. I mean, SpongeBob SquarePants wasn't so much the world as it was Plankton was intent on taking over Krusty Krab.
Mr. Krabs was Plankton's whole world.
Yeah.
I would even call it a homoerotic obsession, but you know.
Wasn't Kids Next Door a little bit taking over the world?
Yeah. Pinky and the Brain.
Mm-hmm. Pinky and the Brain. I gotta think about like the 90s. And I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog, was that? So taking over the world and destroying the world are two very different things. And I learned that very early on. Because when I was younger, I was like, why would you want to destroy the world when you live on it? It didn't make sense to me. And then I realized why they wanted to destroy the world was because they just didn't care about anybody and they didn't even care about themselves.
It's kind of sexy.
And then there was Take Over the World, in which, you know, they were usually narcissists. Gosh, what was it Shaolin Showdown?
I liked that show when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Jack
Avatar
Spicer.
The Last Airbender?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Taking over the world in a different way. Like, they wanted to take back the world from people who did take over the world. So, kind of played on that. And that one really played on a lot of like take over the world things, but then like kind of subverted them, like killing the bad guy. Spoiler alert, he didn't kill the bad guy. He did remove the power from the bad guy, which I think is a very important lesson in pacifism and all of that. Like, I love those guys. I have a lot of feelings about Avatar, The Last Airbender.
What? News to me.
Powerpuff Girls.
Oh yeah, everybody wanted to do some shit there.
Didn't Dexter's Laboratory kind of do that too? Like he kind of wanted to take over the world. Probably in Freakazoid.
Oh, definitely. Or at least people were just like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, any of the superhero shows, like Spider-Man, Batman, all the mans.
The
Men. Justice League. All those. There's always a bad guy that wanted to take over the world and fit it into his image. Or hers. Oh, Captain Planet. That was usually about destroying the world, I will say.
Hero. Potato.
We do have to put this out there for the world to know. We think that the best live-action Captain Planet would be Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, this is absolutely correct.
He has the right look.
He has the right energy.
Yeah.
I don't know about that because I didn't have TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Captain Planet. I think he would bring a definite sense of camp.
And
Yeah.
it's exactly what you want.
Which is, yeah, it's exactly what we want. So, yeah, there you go. Those are some of my examples.
You brought so many of them. You went above and beyond.
I do my best. Yeah.
Unprepared as you are for that question, you went way past the point of where I thought you might. What about you, Em? Do you have things that aren't 90s cartoons?
Well.
There's a lot of, like, manga and anime villains that are like that, like Sailor Moon.
Karen, you've named so many. Let Em name something.
I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to help.
Listen, when I read stuff, it's usually like very focused on one particular area. Like, I'm going to take over this fief. I'm going to take over this immediate area near me.
Mm-hmm.
Your villains are low stakes.
It's always from the villain's perspective that I've been reading lately. So there is that. I mean, I'm trying desperately to think of evil people trying to take over the world. I think Overlord, they want to take over the world just cuz.
Ooh, the new Black Panther movie. Sorry.
I haven't watched the newest one. Don't spoil it for me.
It's good.
I figured it would be. I think Death Note counts in here because, like, that's an anime, so I'll contribute. Light,
There you go.
Light says that he wants to be the god of the world, and I think that counts as wanting to take over the world.
You know what? I did read one recently called Bibliomania, where someone devours everybody in the world in order to learn their stories.
Whoa.
So, eating, and she eats her younger siblings.
Oh no.
Yeah. Like, I usually just read a struggle for me to think off the top of my head. Like, not with, like, straight up villains who want to take over the world. More like the villains want to maintain the status quo and then they get knocked down a few pegs.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Let's see. I think throughout Dragon Ball Z's long runtime, a whole bunch of people have wanted to take over the world.
More like destroy the world.
Yeah. Many of them also want to do that. Let's see. What else do I have? The Black Cauldron.
Mm-hmm.
Have you two seen that?
It's been a while. I think I only watched it before it had gotten into the vault.
Oh, I did watch it. I blocked it out.
That's sad. It's a good one. It's Disney's only like horror movie that has Disney's name on it. I'm looking through a list right now, and this list is so long. Star Wars, Karen, I can't believe you didn't say that.
Well, Star Wars is about taking over multiple worlds, okay? We're talking about one world. Star Wars is about taking over a galaxy.
Austin Powers. Did you guys watch Austin Powers?
I did think about Austin Powers very briefly, and then I just, like, let it go for some reason.
Were you embarrassed?
No, I was like, Austin Powers, and then my brain went,
That sounds right.
Don't be embarrassed of Austin Powers. Everybody went through an Austin Powers phase.
Austin Powers. Great. Mike Myers is actually, like, I know Love Guru was not great, but his most recent one, the Pentaveret show, that was actually really good.
I don't think I've seen anything recent by him.
I think you would like the Pentaveret. Don't watch it with your kids. You see Mike Myers' penis.
Sorta.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm still looking for things where Order of the Stick. Okay, that's here. Dr. Horrible Sing-Along Blog.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I love that one. He-Man and Masters of the Universe.
Oh, with He-Man you got She-Ra also, because the Horde wants to take over everything.
Fairly
Stargate. But again, multiple worlds. Sorry.
Invader Zim.
That's
like the entire point of that show.
Mm-hmm.
Teen Titans.
Yeah, there was some like that. Yeah.
My Little Pony.
Well. I love that the ratings for But Ugly Martians are either a 5 or a 1.
That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Final Fantasy.
Ooh, yeah.
Kingdom Hearts. Except all worlds. That's an all world situation.
The Lord of the Rings.
Legend of Zelda. Mario. Deus Ex. Assassin's Creed.
Oh, Doctor Who. Lots of people in Doctor Who want to take over the world.
Pokemon. Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim.
I think we're good. I think we've got.
Are you sure? I found one that lists Dilbert under the taking over the world thing.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Huh.
Okay.
That happened. That's here. I'm looking at it.
Well, that's weird.
I agree.
So, in real life, we've got Genghis Khan attempted to control the known world at one point in history. He sets the record for most land conquered.
Yes.
Didn't know there was a record to beat, but, yes, I did. That's a lie.
And him by himself sets the record for most land conquered. And also, if you count in the conquests that his sons made after him, and he also had a daughter who did some pretty cool things. She's on our list of topics to talk about one day.
Oh, sweet.
But if you count in everything that they did, it also just adds more stuff to his own personal record. So, yeah. Alexander the Great conquered quite an enormous amount of land also. He conquered what to the Greeks they thought was the world.
Mm-hmm.
But then they realized it was bigger than that because he conquered it all and then said, whoa, more land.
Whoa, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah. That's why Alexander, when he got to the end of what he thought was the world and there was more world, supposedly said, of all the worlds, I've conquered none. Yeah, and then his boyfriend died, and then Alexander died of grief.
Oh,
So sad.
it's the most romantic way to die. Sad and upset. Dying.
Just to be with them.
So, also the Spanish colonial empire.
Mm.
Because at its height, Spain ruled the Americas, Portugal, Flanders, the south of Italy, the Philippines, and controlled the Mediterranean Sea. And its colonial empire only began to fall apart at the beginning of the 19th century when people like Simón Bolívar and José de San Martín came along. Napoleon Bonaparte did a whole bunch of stuff, and the British conquered a whole lot of stuff. The British conquered a quarter of the globe.
They're like, look at that, what?
Exactly.
What?
I've met British people, and that is exactly how they
I
sound.
hope my British friends don't listen to this.
We do have British listeners, so...
I'm so sorry.
Well, we lost them, so...
Oh, well.
Goodbye. Goodbye, British listeners. That was just ridiculous. Oh, man.
Cheerio, slave trade. I insult human beings. What?
Oh, no.
Okay, so you've told us about these, very, very famous people who already did take over the world. How did they do it? War, right? For most of them?
War and conquest.
War and conquest. What if I'm a little less, conquesty?
You don't want a conquest?
I don't really want to, I guess conquest is probably the only way. But not like in a bad way, like in a nice way of, I'm your leader now.
Do you
I want
do
all
it
the
like
power.
a cult leader?
But none of the
Is that what you mean?
responsibility. Do what?
You want to be a cult leader? Is that what you mean?
Temptation.
Really what I want is just to redo the system. This one isn't working. And I know it can't be me because I could never. But I want to be there for whoever does want to take over the world and, do it over. I'm behind them.
All right. Would you mind supporting me in my endeavors?
Yeah.
You could be my advisor. Hey, don't put that in your mouth.
Will you listen?
I haven't put the alligator you gave me into my mouth.
Oh, that's nice.
I know.
Did you know Google has a plan to take over the world, apparently, according to the TV Tropes article I'm reading?
Wow. Okay, sure. Why not?
I mean, I could see it, for sure.
So, I was scrolling down the list of real life takeovers and takeover plans, and I'm looking at Britain, Germany, And then there's a bullet point underneath Nazi Germany, and it says, "Here's Google's plan to take over the world." Hyperlink.
What the fuck?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. And it says, what does it say? A planet entirely dominated by Google OS, the tentacles of which extend to every corner of the globe. Google's Plan 9 in outer space will deploy spy satellite technology to beam mind-altering corporate propaganda designed to convince even the most stubborn skeptic that dealing with the Chinese government really is a great step forward for Western capitalism. That's the conspiracy theory.
Okay, that is definitely a theory. A conspiracy theory.
Aliens!
Wow. I don't understand why people do these things. But yeah, Karen, you said you wanted to be a cult leader. That's how you do it.
No. I want to be on the team, morally supporting someone who wants to take over the world, but in a good way.
Tell me, what's a good way to take over the world?
Well, ideally, it would be a lot like Avatar: The Last Airbender, in that everyone in the world kind of agrees that the system is fucked, and the people who are ruling over us don't have our best interest at heart. And we should be able to oust them, get them out of here, because they stink. Oh my god, this sounds like America. This sounds like
This is America.
But clearly, that didn't work. Or, I mean, it worked only because we built on the backs of people who actually did the work. So, I just want a system where there are no homeless people.
Nobody, is wanting.
Yeah. No one has a need for, if you have diabetes, insulin should be available to you. Why do you have to pay to live? That doesn't make sense.
Be free.
Yeah, I'm like,
Medication
I didn't choose to be here. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of universal basic income as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, other countries seem to manage it.
It's one of the things I miss most about living in Canada, healthcare.
Yeah.
They didn't have dental, but shit, I was able to get surgery without paying a cent.
Oh my god. What is that like?
Very nice.
I was watching Seinfeld. I'm rewatching Seinfeld, and George is talking about he goes to see a holistic guy, because literally they're like, okay, we have to take your tonsils out. And he's like, okay, how much is getting my tonsils out going to cost? And Jerry's like, depending, I guess $3,000 or $4,000. And he's like, okay, so Kramer's holistic guy is $38. And we go to the holistic guy because $38 versus $3,000, obvious choice. And then, he turns into an eggplant and he has to go to the hospital anyway. So now he's out $3,038. And I'm like, it shouldn't be a choice. It should be you need healthcare, you get the healthcare.
It would also be a lot better for people who are having to turn to all these alternate medicines, just like you're saying. Because, fuck, when you don't have any money, you just go to the next best thing. And sometimes the next best thing isn't even real.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have a lot of people, who are desperate for something in the realm of reason for them. And then suddenly, there's all these people who take advantage of it.
Yeah. They, give you the, what is it? The spiritual effect of that, they know how to get into your head psychologically so that you do feel effects that aren't real.
The placebo effect?
Kind of. It's more like how do I describe it? It's like the placebo effect. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know why I said kind of, because I'm thinking like, which is basically what the placebo effect does, in that, you know, your body reacts to what you think is happening, but it's not happening. But your body is reacting that way anyway because it's supposed to, right? So it does. And placebo effect. So, but it can only last so long before, you know.
Shit goes off the rails.
Yeah.
People die.
Yeah. And I mean, for some people, holistic medicine can work if their issues are like, I guess, more on that psychological, spiritual level. Like, I know that there are instances in which people who have experienced trauma, like meditation and massage and therapy, are all ways to cope. I mean, you should see a licensed therapist and possibly seek out a psychiatrist, but, you know, I'm going round in circles. You gotta stop me.
No.
Okay.
I refuse to stop you.
I'm just very passionate about this topic.
I support personally.
Thanks.
Fucking welcome, bench.
Okay. Yes. So, I was also looking at a list of just very weird ways that cartoon people have tried to take over the world. So less world domination and more stupid. Like, for example, I don't know if either of you watched the Ninja Turtles. Did you watch the Ninja Turtles?
Not really, no.
Okay. Well, at my grandma's house, when I was still living there when I was little, I know I did watch the Ninja Turtles. I had the action figures. So back in those days, Shredder, the villain, tried to turn everything into rust. And that was his plan to take over the world. Turn all the monuments into rusts. And somehow this was going to take over the world.
Huh. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's an extremely strange way of doing it.
Now, I need you to also know that Shredder wears a full suit of metal armor. And his plan was to turn all of the metal monuments in the world into rust using this rust-making formula. So, to defeat him, they just stole his formula and turned his own armor into rust.
Yeah, I feel like that one is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Good idea. Good idea, guys. I don't know anything about Ninja Turtles, so I'm sure it's a little bit more thought. I don't know. But that's kind of funny. I mean, all kids' cartoons are like that.
Also, I don't know what this is at all, but while scrolling this list, there's a cartoon called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Attack of the Killer
Wasn't
Tomatoes.
that a movie?
No, it's a cartoon from 1978.
I could have sworn that was a movie. Hold on. It's mentioned in, yeah, here it is. Oh my god.
Oh, it's got the same style as Care Bears. Dark Heart.
I'm thinking of this.
Yeah, that is also a movie, yes. New musical comedy horror show. Yeah, it's both things. So this Attack of the Killer Tomatoes claims that it's a cult classic, and I don't know why, because I've never heard of this one.
It is, though. I've heard of it. As long as at least one of us heard of it.
So the movie is the cult classic, the one that you have heard of, but this
the cartoon they're claiming. The cartoon
was a Saturday morning cartoon in the 1990s.
Okay.
In the cartoon, there's a mad scientist whose name is Dr. Putrid Gangrene.
Great name.
Love to see it.
Subtle.
Yeah. Well, that's like all the Captain Planet villains.
True.
And he's gonna take over the world with the Killer Tomatoes, of course, because what else can you do on a show named Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? So in the first season, Chad, regular boy, and Tara, mutated tomato, that has been turned into
I thought that was
girl.
his name, Chad Regular Boy. Like, I was completely ready to accept that as his name.
Chad
Regular boy.
Well, with the other guy's name being Putrid Gangrene, yeah, Chad Regular Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And his friend Tara, a mutated tomato that has been turned into a teenage girl. Not a joke.
No.
Actual plot.
No. No.
I hate that. I actually hate that.
That is pretty terrible.
They're trying to stop Dr. Gangrene's various schemes. So in the show's second season, he plans, his plans
Wait, hold up. Second
Yeah.
season?
Second
Yeah.
season.
His, his plans
shows-
unexpectedly come to fruition,
What?
and his tomato commandos successfully take over the world.
What?
Oh no.
But then they
What
This
rebel.
bitch succeeded.
Then
That's
then they rebel? The
Yep.
tomatoes?
That's it. The show ends.
What?
Wait, they ended on... Yeah, he won.
That's messed up.
Wow! Fucking wow, bro! What the F?
This was not one of my Saturday morning cartoons. I wish it was. I wish this had been one of the ones that I got to watch.
Things
It's
would have been so
fucking
different.
bananas.
It is bananas. Man.
Oh my god. I can't
So-
believe this shit.
I know. It doesn't, it's weird. Okay, so Mega Man. Do you know that video game franchise?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in Mega Man, Dr. Wily in Mega Man's goal is world domination. And he has some villains called the Robot Masters. And for 2 seasons in the animated series in 1994, he did a whole Inception deal where he invented a machine that lets him send his robots into people's dreams to hypnotize sleepers into doing his bidding.
Oh, dip.
So, after hypnotizing local officials into giving him sensitive information, Wily hid the dream machine on a rocket that was going to space, and then took control of the station's crew, and then planned to use them to spy on everyone on Earth, and to stage surprise attacks with his robots. But then the good guys built their own dream machine, and Mega Man traveled into the astronauts' dreams also, and told them to destroy the other guy's machine. Yeah, very Inception.
Very Inception.
Also, I had a whole list pulled up when I was thinking about how I would destroy the world. Not destroy the world, take over the world of Pinky and the Brain stuff. Because somebody has categorized all of Pinky and the Brain's attempts to take over the world.
Categorized?
Well, yeah, they've like ranked them.
Oh, as like what would be most effective versus least effective?
Yes.
Okay.
So the one that they have decided is the most effective of all of the Brain's plots is an episode where Brain buys every property in the world above the 39th floor with plans to melt the polar ice caps using the Hubble Space Telescope.
What?
The survivors will be forced to live in his legally owned property, and so Brain will have tricked everybody into a housing crisis, and they will be living in property that he legally owns, so technically he will rule the world.
I mean, that's not how it's gonna work, though. I mean, if
No.
the foundation is flooded, like, it's gonna fall over. But okay.
There's so many other logistical problems. But yes, that's the one that's apparently the best one of everything.
Oof. Yeah, I like that one. I mean, it's already kind of happening, so.
It's really sad, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 2 on the list, just going through the top 3. Number 2, Brain wears a human suit, gets a job, stages a workplace accident, and uses the money from the injury claim to build an automated answering machine system to keep everyone on Earth distracted while he takes over the world.
That's the way to do it, yeah. I mean-
Nobody uses their automated answering machine system anymore.
No, so outdated now.
Like,
I
I have voicemail, I just never fucking listen to it.
Yeah, I have a hard time even answering my voicemails.
I just don't have the ability to be there for my voicemail when it needs me. It's a sad truth.
Well, most of the time my voicemails are just spam. So I'll look at my phone calls when they're coming through, and it'll be a spam because my phone will tell me likely spam, and I'll go okay, and I'll just send it to voicemail, and I'll only listen to the voicemails when it's not spam.
Valid.
Yeah. And number 3, Pinky and the Brain become famous children's TV performers, then cryogenically freeze themselves for 40 years. And when they're thawed out, their fans will have grown up into the new world leaders and they will be worshipped.
Just like Mickey Mouse.
Or the who are the the Warner kids.
Yes.
Maniacs?
The Animaniacs, just like them.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, they were cryogenically frozen in time. And then it's like they came back and the whole world blew up. We were like, oh my god, the Animaniacs! And then, everyone was like, it's not as good as the original. And I'm like, you'll never be happy. You people will never be happy. Sorry.
No. Nobody knows what happiness feels like.
No.
I do. I experience it at least every other day, probably.
I have contentness, but very little happiness in my life.
Oh.
Sorry.
I have depression.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And just for the fun, I want to tell you the bottom 3. So then 3, Brain replaces the Declaration of Independence with his revised Declaration of Obedience. Set in 1776, this was one of the edutainment episodes that had no stakes, it says.
There you go.
2, Brain clones dinosaurs with mosquito DNA after watching Jurassic Park.
Yes. Yes.
Valid.
Makes sense.
Nothing further. I don't know how it leads to taking over the world.
Apparently it didn't. That's why it's at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, and the number 1 worst one of his plots was Brain poses as one of Santa's elves so he can put a hypnotic doll on the Christmas lists of every child in the world. And then it says, what if they don't celebrate Christmas, Brain?
Yeah.
Listen to our last episode.
Be inclusive.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about my world domination plan.
Ooh.
Okay, so after thinking about it, it's really sad because I was looking around at what other people thought because I was like, I don't know, I've never really thought too hard about taking over the world. But in the new year, why not make big plans? Since everybody makes resolutions and we never stick with them anyway, I'm going to make the resolution to take over the world, right? And I won't stick with it, but at least it'll all be going downhill from a high place.
Sure.
So, but the plan sounds too real because the realistic plan for how you would need to take over the world is to start locally. The way you do world domination is to like start yourself up like a grassroots movement, cult sort of thing, where you incite your base to do some variety of something. So, like, somebody on Reddit suggested that you would need to trick your user base into thinking things like clean air, climate change, clean water, workers' rights, and all of that are evil government plots to destroy liberty. And I was like, this is getting too real, you guys, based on the 2016 presidential election.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Manson's way of doing things was to slowly collect a bunch of people into his cult by telling them that the people on the outside didn't care about them or love them and that had actually ruined them and that he loved them and he was going to be their daddies, basically, and had them like participate in like free love orgies and drug parties and said, I'm going to make you love yourselves and love each other and we're all like a lovey-dovey, all about the love sort of family. And that sounds fine. Like, but
It sounds nice. I mean, if that's a lifestyle you want to live, you know, that generation, because it was so shrouded in trauma and war, it was like people just wanted to be loved somehow and find love and pleasure in things. So he really thrived on that.
Yeah. So, like, at the beginning of the movie, he's talking to a girl in front of a bunch of other people about how much her parents didn't love her correctly, and that actually she's beautiful and perfect in every way, and that she deserves to love herself, and so on and so forth. And he, like, kisses her feet, and everybody says that they love her and hugs her and stuff. And I was like, this would suck. This would suck me right in, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. it, it, but it just gets crazier as time goes on, because on the surface he wants to build a utopian society that he's actually in charge of, based on biblical teachings and so on and so forth, and love and all that. But underneath it all, it's a race war where everybody who isn't white doesn't know how to handle themselves, and he has to be in charge of them because they're too stupid to know otherwise, was also what he was all about.
Ew.
So that's how cult leaders do it, and that's kind of, I think, how world domination would have to go, is you would have to have something really nice and pretty on the outside to make people follow you, and then you would have to have something really bad going on underneath that would destroy a bunch of people, but really fast. Manson was killing like 2 people at a time.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So there would be my world domination plan. I would have to be a cult leader, but like on a big scale, like the Sun and the Moon cult or whatever that's in Korea that has like 1 million followers still.
The Moonies.
Yeah, because they have persisted a really long time, and they have so many followers, and they just don't slow down.
It's really scary.
It is really scary. And then on the surface of all the utopia nonsense, underneath you have to have like nukes or something, so that eventually when you reveal all of your master plans to destroy like major world offices like the UN and stuff, then you can just be like, well, I've got all the power. What are you going to do? I've got a bunch of followers and I've got all the power. Now I'm in charge of everything.
Damn. Yeah, I don't know that I could do that. I don't know that I would want to take over the world that way.
I wouldn't want to either.
I mean, when I think of taking over the world, I guess I'm thinking of like, I don't know, just getting the people that are currently in power, getting them out of power. I don't need them to be dead. Like, I just don't want them in charge anymore.
Yeah, we're 2 very different writers.
Yeah.
Because this is what it comes down to, is us writing a fiction of how we would do this in a book, people who are listening. And if I were writing a novel of how a character would take over the world, it would be, in the version that I would write, it would be a scary thing, because that's what I write, is scary stuff. It would be awful. But in real life, I'm not interested in taking over anything, because if I succeeded in doing that, the logistics afterwards would be absolutely awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because after you take over the world, you actually have to run things.
Unless you have like a system that you build while you're, like, I mean, you do have to run things. Someone has to run things, let's be clear. But if you have a group of people that work together, and, I just don't think that any one person should be in charge of anything.
No, they shouldn't. And then, like, your system of people that you build up, the people that you're supposed to trust, you can't ever actually trust them, because you took over the world, and somebody is going to not like you, so they're going to try to take over your spot, because they're going to want the power, or also not like you, so you're going to constantly have to be on your guard and be really paranoid, and my anxiety couldn't handle it.
Yes, it's a lot.
Dystopias are hard, so
Yeah.
you just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't want to. It's too much paperwork. There's billions of people on the planet, and it's too much.
It is too much. So, folks, if you're planning on taking over the world, hit me up. I'll be I'll bring snacks. I'll make snacks for y'all. That's about all I can provide, though.
Don't hit me up. I didn't plan for food at all.
That's okay. I'll bring it.
Okay.
Well, everybody, it's 2023, and I hope you enjoyed listening to our New Year's resolution. So, speaking of, we are going to have a short break as Karen and I are going to be kind of busy picking up the entire house and trucking it across the country in a vertical most fashion. But in the meanwhile, we are taking more questions. So if you don't mind, would you do us a favor and email us at whywouldyouskthatpod@gmail.com, or you could hit us up at our website, whywouldyouskthat.com. We got a form on there that is nice and easy to use. You go in, you ask your question, you hit submit, and all we ask is that you don't ask anything personal about us. We want weird. We don't want weird. Okay.
And rate and review us wherever you can rate and review our podcast on whatever you're listening to. And while we're taking a break from actually recording, I might put up some little things, like just tiny little short mini episodes.
So we're probably going to throw stuff up to keep everybody occupied, but listen in and we'll try to have something real nice and dandy for you guys when we all make our comeback in 2023. We love you.
Have a good one.
Mwah, 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 mwah.